It is, folks. She didn't just beat it. She destroyed it. She skipped the 155s entirely. 154.88 for Keely Hodgkinson. Let me repeat, 154.88. See, that's the problem with these damn pace lights is, unless you're in the stadium and sometimes they change it, like you see them behind the light, you think they're not doing it. When I heard, good thing I had the audio on to find out what the light says. She's now doing a snow angel on the track. World record. Take that, Wee Joe. Take that, says King. Should I take a screenshot? Try to get this so I can have a picture for our show. She's jumping up and down with the sign. And I mean, the thing that was interesting, Weldon, about this is how confident her camp was. I mean, last year they set up their own race. They were going to do it on home soil, go for the record. And I was like, this record's been there for your entire life. That's kind of bold, but this performance shows that how confident they are, and for good reason. And you see that in the second race outdoors, the fact that they even put it at the outdoor world record. I think we're honestly going to see the outdoor world record. What a sight to see. What an athlete. It's so great to see somebody that is so young, so talented, but is not afraid to be in the limelight, enjoys the limelight. Like, what a life. She's the BBC Sports Personality of the Year. She gets to do things that you and I would never dream of doing. And for so many stars in America, not just in track and field, not Sydney, just not a thing, Mo, but Osaka, the tennis player, and some of these others, it's like a burden to be that talented. And Keely seems to just thrive on what God has given her. So unreal. Congratulations, Keely Hodgkinson. I need to add that to our live ticker. What was the time, Weldon? So I can.
They just asked Keely what her first reaction was, and she said, "Thank God. That was a lot of fun." Those were the first words. That was a lot of fun. And to be the best at the world in something is amazing. I mean, that run was super impressive. If you told me the lights were going to be set at like 153 something, I would have said this record is going to go. But obviously I deserve credit. I was just saying that so I wouldn't jinx it, saying it wouldn't go beforehand. But I mean, her outdoor PB 154.61. She comes close to that indoors. We're February 19th. Clearly the camp knew this was possible. As you said, even last year, they're going to set up that Keely race to have it happen. But a lot happens. She gets hurt, misses time last year. Gets beat at Worlds, stuff like that. So it's just, I don't know. This was amazingly impressive. It's good to see people deliver. But we need the great Jonathan Galt on here. He's probably had time to digest this. Okay, so I mean, she still got enough. This was indoors, but the outdoor record 153.28. I mean, no one's been under. No one's been under. Well, let's just double check this.
Folks, don't worry. Jonathan Galt will be joining us. He will be joining us. He likes to have a thought. He doesn't like just to. He's not as seasoned as us. He can't just fire off the cuff like us. Anyways, what a meet, Lievin. I mean, it's kind of the Milrose of Europe. Maybe if you're European, Milrose is the Lievin of America, but it's probably the top. Those are the top indoor meetings of the year, and a lot went on just from the distances. We had a women's world record attempt from Jessica Hull in the 2000. Remember last year she ran 5:19 outdoors, which is kind of hard to fathom how fast that is. She did not get that today. She comes up short. She runs 5:26.68. Portugal's Salomé Alfonso did run the European record, 5:30. In the women's 3000, that's the Ellie St. Pierre's event where she won gold. Frewana Hailu of Ethiopia shows, hey, don't forget about us. We're pretty good. This is the woman that won world indoor gold last year. She runs 8:24:59. Interesting second place result there. Alashine Bawiki, 20-year-old from Ethiopia and a former world junior champion. Edge Nadia Batikladi. Batikladi missed the European record by 0.03, just did not look good in the last 50. Elliot Crestan has become the second man in history to run 143 twice in an indoor season. He's actually the only man in history to run under 143.95 twice in a season. He ran 143.93 today. I was very specific about that 143.95 stat because Wilson Kipketer ran 143.96 in his second best time when he had the world record. Isaac Nader, he's undefeated on the year. He wins the 1500 with ease, 331. Should Cole Hocker be worried? Jacob men's 3000. Azzedine Hobbs went for the European record. The French record, tied up big time. Got walked down by Adisu Yuhini. I have a misspelling on his name. And 733. Jacob Kropp, 734. So I guess they will have somebody at World Indoors. And again, this is a special live edition of the Track Talk podcast. If you want it as a podcast and not have to catch us live on X, YouTube, or Facebook, join the Supporters Club today. Let'sRun.com/subscribe. Jonathan Galt has now joined us. John, the masses on YouTube. Where's John? We don't want to listen to you old guys. We want someone young. We want one of these millennial kids or what, Generation Ys or whatever. What are you, John?
Millennial.
Okay. Maybe you want to check to see if your mic is checked in. You seem a little soft. But anyways, John, we're trying to record the show live, get a reaction. We didn't know what the light was. So Weldon was like, the light's kind of far ahead. What's going on here? And then I did have the sound on and I heard them say that the light was at 153 something. And I'm like, well, she's got this by a lot. I mean, absolutely destruction of the world record. How impressed were you by that?
Incredibly impressed, Robert. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Yeah. They said it was 153.8. See, this is why I like to watch these things live and have the commentary. Hannah England was on the commentary, and she clearly is pretty close with Keely and her coach, at least back. So she had all the intel. I thought they did a good job breaking it down, talking about the splits and making even if she's not ahead of the lights, she's still probably going to smash the world record, which she did by almost a second. But two things occurred to me. One, Keely's really fit. This was really impressive, and she looked good doing it. Her second race back, she hadn't been able to race indoors for the last 3 years. So you could tell how much she wanted that world record. She said, thank God, that was her first reaction when the interviewer asked her, how do you feel right now? You could tell this was something she'd been thinking about for a while. She wanted to get a world record last year at the Keely Classic. It didn't work out. She does have the 600 indoor world record or world best, but this is, a more legit record. And obviously she's got that cool tie where the previous record was set on the day she was born. So yeah, she was pumped and deservedly so. But I guess the other thing that came to mind is we've now seen Keely run 154.87 and her outdoor PB is 154.61. And we've seen Josh Hoey break the men's 800-meter world record, running 142.50. His outdoor PB is 142.01. And I'm starting to wonder, are indoor tracks, for a long time, you couldn't run faster indoors for the 800. It was you just wouldn't get the times close to the fast outdoor times. And now we've seen a world record, a 29-year-old men's world record go down and a 24-year-old women's world record go down. What's going on with the 800 in 2026?
Well, I think we've touched on some of this beforehand. Well, less so on the women's side than the men. The men's times are just so fast outdoors. I think there's people ready to do that. There was a disconnect. This women's record and, the past history of the sport, especially on the women's side, I think makes it a little bit more difficult. This is still, I think, lower hanging fruit than the outdoor record. And she was going to try to break it last year. I do think these little things do matter. They don't have to break in until the second turn now. It makes the first 200 meters of the race just a lot more controlled.
But she had to go
safer.
out harder than she wanted because she had to get position ahead of Wero. Like Hannah England was saying on the broadcast, she actually was targeting 27.6 for her first 200. Keely had to go 26.8, and that was just to get the lead because otherwise Wero would have had it.
She didn't have to do anything. I never understood that argument. If the other person is going out too hard, you need to let them go out too hard. I know you have to run extra distance, but Wero ran 158 today. She lost by 4 seconds. Wero could have served as a rabbit, I guess. I mean, at some like, and come on. I mean, I guess Wero is running well, but at some level here, shouldn't these people be slotting in behind Keely? Like, come on. Like, I guess kids can fool themselves and you think, I'm just going to will myself to a 4-second PB and break the world record myself. No, like, if I was Wero, I would have said, I'm going to have the world's greatest rabbit here. I'm going to get right behind Keely Hodgkinson and I'm going to run with her. And if she fades, I'm going to beat her. Like that, you do what I want Cooper Luckenhouse to do to Josh Hoey every time they run at USA's. If Josh wants to take it out, that's great. I'm going to sit on him and blow his doors off.
Yeah, I'm curious if Wero knew that the lights were set to 153.8. Like maybe she just thought, oh, they're trying to break world record. They're going to run 155.5. And if that's the case, okay, fine, get right up. I mean, I'd still just sit on Keely, but did she know they were going at 153.8? If so, I feel like that's really bold. I know she's been running well, but she clearly is not in that kind of shape right now.
So I do think I want to be upbeat. New Rojo here. I mean, I do have some hot takes, and a lot of times they are negative. But I'm a truth teller. If I believe something, if I believe that Nico Young is now better than Grant Fisher on the track, I'm gonna talk to you about that, and we're gonna talk about that later on the show because there's been some reaction to my take on the regular podcast. But I do think the sport. These lights are huge. People are talking about this. What's going on in the 8? I think the 2-turn 800 stagger is a huge help because you're not fighting right at the beginning. You're fighting at the end. And then I also think the times are finally getting faster. We've seen the faster training and the better shoes. The 800 times did not come down. I still think it's slower than outdoors. Half second, 3/4 of a second. And we'll see outdoors. But I do think with the lights, meet organizers, they need to make it abundantly clear to everybody. Like Sound Running did this. They had it on their website, what the meet light is at and what it's going for. I think there should be a graphic on the screen at all times. I personally think the graphic should come off always for the last lap. I don't like how they know whether they're doing it or not, but and I don't think a team should put a mark at 153.8. Like, what is that? It's just confusing to people. And we're in the entertainment business. And, my wife was watching the sub 4 mile attempt last year, and she saw some lights on there, and she thought that Faith Kipyegon last year broke the record because she was ahead of some sort of lights, but not the world record lights. So my wife literally watched Faith Kipyegon break 4, except she didn't break 4. She didn't even break 4:05. So I don't know, John, if you have the power to grant a wish and I can be the commissioner for fan experience. I can be the fan, half commissioner, half union representing the fans. But
okay. And I'm the track and field genie.
Yes.
Well,
all right.
Wait, Robert, I also got to point out here. I mean, Keely Hodgkinson, she's in the shape of her life right now. She ran 154.87 indoors on February 19th. Her personal best is 154.61. That was right before she won the Olympics. That was July 20th, 2024. So it's kind of crazy, but at the same time, this is a woman who gets in shape quickly. We saw last year right out of the block, she runs 154.7 in Silesia in her first race of 2025 after missing, most of the season due to injury. And she's also said this is her healthiest winter pretty much ever. You look at the last few indoor seasons, I think she's had interest in doing world indoors in 3 of the last 4 years. I know 2022, she had to pull out in Serbia once we got there. 2024, she didn't run Glasgow. Then last year, she scuppers her indoor season due to injury. This year, she's fired up to do it, and she looks to be in the best shape of her life because, obviously she ran 154.87, and their coaches, her coach and Keely herself, must be thinking they're even better shape if they're setting the lights to 153.8. And honestly, if you look at her splits, this is what she ran: 26.80, 29.21, 29.05, 29.81. So if they had actually gone out a little slower for that first 200, I think she runs even faster. Like, I think she's, you set something up absolutely perfectly, and you don't have an Audrey in that race. Maybe she does go like 154 low. It's super, super impressive what she's doing right now.
Folks, they say in the marathon, don't put the time in the bank. Apparently in the women's 800, they all try to do this. Just put the time in the bank. Go out and run the first 224 and just run 29s and you're smashing the world record. So, yeah, I had heard this is basically the first time maybe in her pro career she's been healthy indoors without missing some time. And just what a talent. Athing, Mo, I hope you're watching. Hoping that's giving you a paying for competition, because I don't know. Like, to me, like, here we are, February 19th, 2026. By the way, that mark has stood since March 3rd. What year was Keely born? 2022?
No, 2022, she would be 3 years old right now. 2002.
Yeah. But here we are. We in America, Keely is the sports personality of the year, one of the biggest stars in all of Europe. America, we have someone almost as talented, if not, you could argue more talented than her, Athing Mo, and we don't even know if she's still in the sport. Has she retired? Is she pregnant? Has she given up? We have no idea. And to me, like, people are going to say, Roger, these athletes don't owe you anything. I think the sport does. That's why we need a commissioner. Like, I know that no one employs them, but Nike, if you're going to sponsor these athletes, let us know what they're up to. Like, please, like, some base level of professionalism from Athing Mo and her camp would be appreciated.
Yeah, I'm on that note, Robert. I did send an email out to her agent and another person at her agency this morning asking for an update. What is her current training situation? Who is coaching her? Haven't heard back yet, but yeah, I tend to agree with you like that. I don't think that is too much to ask from the track public. I'm not asking for, what is your entire 2026 racing schedule, but it'd be interesting. Like, is she planning on racing this season? And what meets is she targeting, if so?
Just look at this results up on the screen for a minute. I mean, she beat one of the best, one of the top 10 fastest world indoor women ever, Audrey Worrell, by 3.5 seconds.
That's the Diamond League champion from last year. And then the Olympic silver medalist in third place. And she beat her by almost 4 seconds as well.
Yeah, Daguma and Worrell run 158. Nijis Getachew of Ethiopia runs 159. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Congratulations, Keely. That was something to see. I mean, I got excited. I'm like, look, this woman said she's going for the record. She did what I wanted to do. She hypes it up, and then she just goes out and destroys it. I don't know, the monetary situation of these things. Kind of would have been cool if she just sold it at the UK Championships. Like, do it twice. Do it once there, and then do it again at Lievin. But hey, I'm not going to complain too much. Now I'm getting greedy. I want her to. Hey, Wilson Kipketer. You're like, that's ridiculous. You can't do it without rabbits. Wilson Kipketer on the men's side was basically, almost as dominant as Keely back in the day, like in the sense of he set the world record in the first round of World Indoors, then kind of relaxed in the semifinals, and then set it again in the final. So, then what year was that? 1997, right, John?
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to think. Like, Keely is what, 3 point. Almost more than 3 seconds faster than everybody else this year that she sets the world record. If you go back to 1997, when Wilson Kipketer set the world record indoors at 142.67, second place that year, or second on the world indoor list, was a Moroccan by the name of Majoub Haidi. He got the silver medal at Worlds. He ran 145.76. So he was 3 seconds better. Keely is clearly 3 seconds better. Congratulations to both of them.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, I'm looking at World Indoors. I would have to think she would probably just front run certainly the final. I think just go to the front and just run faster than everyone else. That's the basic strategy, because I'm looking when there's the gap's that big. I think that's the safest play to make. And we saw multiple women running 154 last year. You know, Lillian Odira did it in Tokyo to beat Keely. Georgia Hunter Bell did it to beat Keely, but neither of them are going to be running the 800 in Torun. So with that being the case, I think Keely's just a very clear favorite in that event and pretty far ahead of everyone else.
I'd like to see her screw around on the prelim and just running last for fun.
You know, make it a little bit more interesting from a spectator point of view, but maybe not you're adding an element of unnecessary risk.
To be honest, that's why I generally do find men's professional running to be a little bit more interesting than women's professional running, because normally the winner a lot of times the women are on the women's side is just so much better than everybody else. Nobody can touch them. And, you know, like in horse racing, they have handicaps. So, you know, maybe we should have Keely put on like a vest that weighs like 5 or 6 pounds. See if that impacts it. I'm joking, people. She was amazing. All right, let's talk about these other events, John. Should we go in the order that they took place?
I suppose that's the easiest way to do it.
All right, first up, before the TV window, so we did not see this race, was the women's 3,000. And I guess if you're like a U.S. fan, this race had significance for you, right?
I mean, it had international significance because some of the top contenders for World Indoors are running this. So one of the contenders happens to be an American, Ellie St. Pierre, but like even without that, these were some of the top women in the world.
So for winning Hailu, is she the reigning champion, John, or did she win it 2 years ago? I think it was last year, right?
No, she's the reigning champion from Nanjing.
So she wins it. She sorry, I got rid of my results there. 8:24:59. Alishine Baweki was second of Ethiopia. She's 20 years old, former world junior champ, 8:26. I think she ran like in the 14:20s last year in Rome. And then surprisingly, she beat Nadia Badakeleti, the Olympic medalist, two-time Olympic medalist, 8:26:44. She got a national record, but she missed the European record by 0.03. And I was kind of wondering, like coming down the stretch, like Badakeleti didn't seem to fight that hard, did not look that good in the last 50, gets past at the last minute per second, just missed. They had special lights for her for the European record. I'm like, and then it's like, what was that? It didn't look great for her. And then I read afterwards, she's like, I just wanted to get the qualifier for Worlds. So congratulations to her. She's not skipping Worlds. You know, we kind of gave her a hard time for skipping World Indoors, for World Cross Country. But we're like, look, she's going to World Indoors. If you're going to do one winter championship, you're off the hook on Rojo for excuses. But in the post-race comments, I was pretty surprised. I did not know this about her. She's practicing Muslim, and Ramadan started this week. So, you know, she's not eating during the daylight hours. So she's like, I was a little tired because of that. So a little research reveals that her mother was Moroccan born. So I guess that's where the Islam comes from her. Her dad's from Italy. Her dad was obviously a famous Italian runner who at one point was suspended for some drug violation. Some people claim he was overturned. I'm not really sure of the details of that. Now that people know that her mother was Moroccan born, I'm sure some of the people on the message boards are going to go absolutely crazy. That's all I'm going to say there. But kind of interesting, you know, result there. And, you know, I think that this is good. Like, you know, if I wrote it and we have a written version of this every Monday. We write a week that was, where we recap the weekend of action. And I said, like, where are the Africans? Like, and there's a lot of depth in from Ethiopia on the women's side, but we really hadn't seen the top Africans yet. It's good to see Hailu up there doing indoors, getting ready for Worlds. You know, Ellie's she's in great shape. She you know, beat Gudov Sagai, who'd run 8:19 when she won the gold 2 years ago. So that's going to be a nice battle.
Yeah, and I expect Badakeleti to be better at World Indoors. If she's talking about just running the qualifying time and didn't care about place, and she didn't have much of a closing gear, but usually she does at the championships. Ramadan will be over by the time of World Indoors. It ends on March 19th. World Indoors starts the next day. So you would think that might, put her in a better position and she'll be a bit better prepared for it. So, yeah, I would expect her to be in the contention with Hailu and ESP, maybe Nikki Hiltz. Nikki Hiltz is listed among the entries, but isn't declared for anything at USA's right now. And her agent, Holly Kofleski, I asked him if they were planning on what event they were running at USA's, and he just said they have until Sunday to declare. So it wasn't exactly like a ringing endorsement that Nikki's definitely doing it, but it seemed like they had been interested in running it. So we'll see with that situation. The other thing I noted,
maybe she's waiting to see how these results go to see what event she should enter.
Right. So Battacoletti's right leg was also heavily taped. I'm like, is she not 100% healthy? But she said in her interview it was just a precaution. She barely races indoors historically. So I guess she was just kind of worried about something. I thought it was kind of weird it was the outside leg. Like I would think the inside one that you're turning on is the one you'd be more concerned with. But I mean, she still ran 8:26. She ran 4 seconds faster than she did last year. So still not a bad result.
All right, next up was the 1,500 women. Georgia Hunter-Bell, she wins it. She was hoping to run a little bit faster, 4:05.21. Berke Highland, 4:01. Siren Burha of Ethiopia, 4:01. Elise Cranny, actually, who has joined the Fast 8 track club with Keely Hodgkinson way back in 4:06.
M11 track club.
What?
M11 track club is the name of that training group.
Oh, yeah, I'm getting them confused with the other 800-meter group. This to me, I think doesn't really change much. I think that we know Georgia Hunter-Bell's good. I can see why she's disappointed because she won easily, but she's better than this.
The pacing was a disaster in this race, Robert. The first rabbit went out way too hard. The second rabbit never even got to the front of the race. So it was like a 61.0 first lap. And then from 500 to 900, the pace slowed down to 67.8, which is 4:14, 1,500 meter pace. And then at that point, Hunter-Bell gets to the front and is like, fine, I'll do it myself. But it was just the first K was just really messy. That's why it didn't go.
That right there, if you want to know why times are so much faster, I think a huge portion of it is wave lights. Like you don't see people get in good shape, and then the pacing normally is spot on. There's really no excuse. You can just look over to see if you're near the lights.
There wasn't. Yeah, the pace was in front of the blue lights. I don't know what they were doing.
So, anyways, then I think by the way, we're only talking about, the distance events. There were some sprints and jumps, obviously. The men's 800 was, I meant to create this graphic so I could put it up for all people who are listening live on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Thanks for joining us live. Again, if you want this as a podcast, join the Supporters Club today. I can probably take a screenshot of it and put it up there, but Elliot Crestan, who had run, he's the world leader. He's medaled at the last 2 World Indoors, I believe. And, from Belgium. And yeah, he wins this one yet again under 143. He goes out super hard. The rabbit went out in 50.13. He was right behind that, 23.97. And he gets the win in 143.91. As I said at the top of the show, he's only the second guy ever to break 144 twice in the same indoor season. I think after this race, considering he's the world leader, he's got 2 medals in the bag on the CV at World Indoors. I love Cooper Lutkenhaus. I think Cooper Lutkenhaus can win World Indoors, but you have to consider Elliot Crestan to be the favorite. Weldon, do you agree?
Yes. And so I'm sort of glad you're giving him this to do. You sort of anointed Cooper Lutkenhaus the future of everything on the Tuesday podcast. I think this is actually very good for Cooper Luckenhaus. And Robert, you said Elliot Crestan's the world leader. He's actually not. We cannot forget Josh Hoey set a world record this year. So Elliot's the fastest guys of the guys who are going to be running World Indoors. But he's phenomenally successful, especially indoors. He's got more experience than Cooper. He's running faster than Cooper right now. So I think he has to be the favorite. But I think if you're Cooper, that's what you want. Like,
now these splits,
experience in tactical championship races, or not even tactical, but yes, you don't want to just go in like last year at World Indoors. Hoey ran away from everyone in the first round, and then the second round just sort of hung on. But I think tactically you're not learning much there. If there's someone sort of challenging you the whole way, it's a better experience to have if you're thinking long term.
Now I've got the graphic up on the page. It's comparing the 800 meter the splits from Luckenhaus. These guys ran 144.03 on the weekend. This Crestan runs 143.91, so almost the exact same time. And what's interesting here is now the first two splits on the left are for the Rabbit. So 23.97. So Crestan was probably like 24.2. Luckenhaus was like 24.89. So basically over half a second slower. 50.13. Again, Crestan was behind, so he's probably like 50.4 versus 50.56 for Luckenhaus. So he's just a little bit there. And then 600, very similar, 117.33 versus 117.56. And they ran very similar races. They get out hard and then really slowed down a lot. Both of them ran over 27 seconds and on the third 200. And then both of them picked it back up at the finish. Crestan closes in 26.58 today. Luckenhaus closed in 27.48. So it's just right now they're extremely close. And if you're close in fitness, I've got to give the tactical edge to the Belgian. He's done a lot of indoor racing. He's got the two European medals indoors as well. So Hoey's not used to this at all.
Luckenhaus, you mean? Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. I think I'd have Crestan as the favorite. And I do think he has the edge because he's just got more experience running in the tighter indoor races. But I think this is a situation, and we've seen it before, is you can have one guy make all the tactical mistakes and, run a really smart race. Then there's just one guy who's just way more talented than him, and it might not matter. Like if Cooper's just third and he has to run extra distance, he just does that on the last lap and still mows him down. Like I could totally see that happening. And I think that's, if he wins World Indoors, that's probably how it's going to happen, is Crestan's in front of the bell and Cooper just has a monster last 200. So it makes for a fun race though. Like if Luckenhaus was just going there and he was clearly had the fastest time and everything, that puts him in a little bit tougher spot as the overwhelming favorite. There's a bit more pressure on him. Now he's got a guy who's, a very good runner, really accomplished indoor runner, and, takes a little bit of the spotlight off him. I think it's going to be great, and this event's going to be really exciting at World Indoors.
Now, if I was Crestan, I would let Cooper take the lead and try to just sit on him. But if I'm Cooper's coach, I'm saying you try to sit on the other guy. Now, Bad Clams video says, so Cooper would never lose to the world record holder, but would lose to a Belgian guy. So he's referencing the fact on the regular podcast, and I had a couple epiphanies. One of them was, I said, I don't think Cooper Luckenhaus is ever going to lose to Josh Hoey. And what I mainly meant was in a tactical race like at USA's. I think that they're close enough that if they're in that type of race, particularly since Hoey's not doing it this year, you think Cooper would even be better in 2027, or by the time 2026 outdoors comes. I think Hoey will serve as the de facto Rabbit for Cooper, and then Cooper will kick past him. Now, maybe Hoey changes his tune. Hoey's got 1,500 meter strength. Maybe he learns to sit on Cooper. But I just think, like, we've seen Jared Naguse try to run away from guys from the front at USA's, and it doesn't work. You have to be so much better to do that. Now, the 800, particularly indoors, you do save so much ground by being in the lead. And you have seen people front run 800 at the global level. So I just wanted to clarify what I meant by that.
It's definitely got the masses riled up. See, that's a hot take. There's enough kernel of a truth there that you can make an argument, but certainly engendered some strong feelings, even from Weldon Johnson earlier this week.
Well, we saw it with Keely. I mean, learning to run tactically may help you. Well, because you watch this race today and you're like, how in the world did Keely lose Worlds last year? But she ran fairly fast. It's just, it wasn't a perfect tactical race. And if other women are running 154, it's not easy to do.
Right. And she was also a bit rusty just being in that kind of race. She hadn't run the entire year until about 6 weeks before Worlds, hadn't done a race. And even in those races, she was ahead of everyone. So, suddenly you're in that situation that you haven't been for a while, and the 800 moves so fast that one mistake early in the race can really come back and submarine your race at the end. I just think if she had like a full season, she'd be like, oh yeah, wait, this is Marat. I'm supposed to back off a little bit here. If she had that, obviously she's healthier going into Worlds, and I also, her coaches said she was a little sick in Tokyo. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that.
She should back off on Marat, so why wouldn't she back off Audrey Guerrero today and just let her do that? Anyways, Bad Clam says being able to run in packs will never matter to Lickenhouse if he turns into a 140.0 guy. That's true. Good point.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's not a given, but also not impossible. Shall we move on to the next event? So we covered the men's 800.
Yeah, we got the men's 15. And really, if you didn't watch this, you're at work, you're at school, you're at practice, you're out for a run. Isaac Nader, he just got to the front. They were running pretty much single file. And I was just watching him. Obviously, you're doing it. Hindsight is 2020. But I'm like, oh, wow, what a beautiful runner, right? I mean, I guess he did win the world championships. But yeah, I was just kind of like, okay, like, this wasn't some fluke. This guy's pretty damn talented. And
he ran it like a world champ would run this race. Like you would expect, this is all right, the world champion's in here. He should take care of business. Onus was kind of on him to go towards the front. He did that and wasn't really challenged. So like that was a sort of taking care of business. I'm the gold medalist type of win. That said, if I'm Cole Hocker, I'm looking at that. I'm like, all right, I can do that. No problem. Like if you look at the splits they're running, Nader ran 44, closed in 29:36. That's a pretty underwhelming lost lap. He probably had a little bit more in the tank in the lost home straight. He was kind of looking around. But Cole Hocker, when he ran his 3:45 mile, he hit 1500 in 3:30.8 and ran his last 200 in 27:34. So Hocker ran faster, looked better, and closed harder. And he also had 109 extra meters to run. So clearly Hocker's is the more impressive performance. If I'm Cole Hocker, I'm obviously factoring Nader as a major contender because we saw how good his last 100 was in Tokyo. But my takeaway is Cole Hocker is in better shape than Nader, and perhaps, I mean, in terms of like chasing a really fast time, definitely Cole Hocker's fitter right now. But, that last championship 100, Cole Hocker's got a fantastic kick, but Nader closed in 12-2 at last year at World. So you just got to remember that.
We need to come up for some saying. What did you say, John? He ran faster, ran further, and kicked faster. What is that called? He did it all better, but Nader showed at Worlds last year his kick is sick. Indoors, positioning really matters. More so, it's harder to pass. So maybe there's a little more variability indoors. But Cole Hocker's got to be your favorite. But Nader, right? Like how he started off indoors, even just then you sort of go back and revisit what was it, Rabat, where he won last year. Like the more I see of him, I'm ranking higher and higher, despite the fact he was world champion last year. At first, you're like, oh, is this kind of fluke? Like a bunch of guys weren't there. And you're like, no, actually, this guy's got a great kick. I think the more tactical race is more up his alley, but he's very good.
Yeah. But I just do think of it like, I just think Cole Hocker is fitter right now than Isaac Nader is. Like Isaac Nader was off the podium at World Indoors last year. He got kicked by Luke Hauser, and then he ended up winning Worlds. I just think this time of year, he might not be as dialed in as Hocker is in terms of like, okay, I'm really getting after it and going for some fast times.
Well, you can say that, but what's encouraging to me is Isaac Nader was nothing until last year outdoors, really, right? He was not a guy that anyone was talking about as a major player. What I'm seeing here is growth. I'm seeing Isaac Nader do what Cole Hocker did last year. Cole Hocker wins Olympic gold. He doesn't rest on his laurels. He's not satisfied. He's not going to be a one-hit wonder. He's like, I that's great. I want more. I want to be an all-time great. I'm going to get strong enough to run the 5,000. I thought the training for the 5,000 would help him. I certainly didn't expect him to win the gold medal in the 5,000. Now Cole Hocker's, he's got the double gold. He's like, I want the fast times. I want to be able to win on the circuit. And what you're seeing from Nader is something similar, obviously not to the same level, but he wins the gold. He then joins a whole new training group and shows that, hey, you know, I'm for real. And he's undefeated on the year. He runs 7:38. Now, that's not an amazing time, but that's a big PB for him. He ran that a few weeks ago. His previous indoor 3,000 PB was 7:53. So he ran a 15-second national record PB. And then today, this time is also and why he's listed as it's also his well, he ran 3:32 what today? 3:32.44.
Portuguese indoor record.
Yeah, he broke his own national. He last year he ran 3:32.5, so he beat it by 0.15 today. But if you look at this race, I know he tied up a little bit, but there was no one near him. It's like, man, he probably could have run faster. So he's in better shape than ever. That's encouraging. Do I expect him to challenge Cole Hocker for gold? No, but I think it's going to be cool to say we have the reigning Olympic champion, we have the reigning world champion in the same damn race. That will mean something. All these people skipping world indoors, hey, that's on you. Whatever. Other results here of note: Federico Riva of Italy, second national record. Andrew Koskren, Irish national record. They ran 3:33.04, 3:33.09. Actually, Stefan Nielsen of is that Belgium, John?
Netherlands,
3:33.64. So 4 national records, top 4 places. But Vincent Ciatti, the American, 8th place only, 3:35.83. And then the big one again, I was like, where are the Africans? Oh, some of these guys are showing up. Reynold Chariot, he got a medal at Worlds, right? It was Nader and Whiteman this close together. And then the third placer in that race, everyone forgot, was Reynold Chariot. This was his indoor debut. I was like, thank God, the Kenyans need to start taking indoors. We need the Africans at World Indoors. Goes to his first indoor race, and he was terrible. He fell off the pace halfway through, runs 3:42.27. So unless Kenya gets some sort of wild card, I'm assuming he's not going to be at Worlds because the standard is 3:36, I believe. He doesn't have it. SOL.
Yeah, it's a bummer. I don't know what happened with him. He was like 4th. He was in pretty good position and just fell apart the last 800. He just ran a cross-country race over the weekend in Kenya that he won against Timothy Chariot, and I believe Emmanuel Wanyonyi was also in that. Like, it was a 2K cross race, and he has to be he can't be in 3:42 shape. Like, I just want to know what was going on here. And
well, that's good to know that he's in shape. It's got to be weird if you never run on an indoor track. I mean, I have seen people just come off the plane from Australia, never done indoors, and do just fine. But and also you can have a bad race. I mean, can someone given and let's go there. Let's go there now. Given what Nico Young has done in the last few weeks indoors, running the 3:48 mile at Millrose, it's like, would you ever have believed that in December Nico Young would absolutely stink up world cross country on home soil, finish in the 30s? Like, what was wrong there? I mean, is he that much of a rhythm runner? He's just not good on the track. I mean, that's kind of wild that he was that far back and that good. So you can have a bad race. These pros are pretty consistent, but every once in a while you have a race that's just a stinker. Your season opener, it doesn't make a lot. Other that really wasn't his season opener, but early in the season, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Well, Young also didn't run great at the trials either. Like, it didn't totally shock me that he had he clearly had a bad day at World Cross, but also, like, it's not like he won the trials or was even close to it. So I kind of knew going in it was possible he wasn't going to be like way up there.
But it is kind of crazy. If you told me, oh, Nico Young's going to bomb world cross country, I mean, for him, it was pretty poor performance. And then that was January 10th. And then, but he's going to come out and run a, what? Was he at 3:48 mile?
3:48 at Millrose, 7:33, closing in 26:0. And
7:33 isn't that impressive anymore. which is crazy. I mean, we were freshmen in college running that fast, essentially. But with the 26 close, I would have been like, no, he's not in shape. So it's so good. Obviously, we have like recency bias. I mean, Robert, like, pondering, has Nico surpassed Grant Fisher? A month ago, people were like, wait, Nico's in trouble. What's so poor with him at World Cross Country? Grant's like, was it like that? Probably the next week, or no, probably 2 weeks later, breaks the 2K world record. I'm like, oh man, Grant Fisher's on fire. Got beaten that race, but then since then, Grant has to miss Milrose, and now he's training for the half marathon. So we act like, oh, Grant Fisher's done nothing on the track, but recently. But I think that's just maybe too narrow of a perspective.
Well, Robert and I talked about this before we started recording. Over the last 12 months, like starting February 19th, 2025, Nico Young has indisputably been better than Grant Fisher. It's just not an argument. But in their careers, obviously, Grant remains the more accomplished runner at the moment.
And that's why the epiphany hit me, because go back a year ago to right now. Grant Fisher has just won double in the summer. He won double Olympic medals, 5 and 10, finally getting on the podium and breaking through. He has the new coach. He goes to indoors. He sets 2 world records. And we're just thinking, oh my God, this is amazing. We're going to see this guy dominate. He's going to be amazing. And then in the middle of the podcast, I'm like, wait a minute. If we look at it objectively, he's not as good as Nico Young. Nico Young has surpassed him on the track. He beat him at Worlds in the 5,000. He beat him at Worlds in the 10,000. He beat him at USA's in the 10,000. He also, Nico Young, ran almost as fast as Grant Fisher in the 5,000. It's an outdoor American record, and he won a Diamond League in that race. Grant Fisher has never won a Diamond League race. And particularly if you project forward. So I meant like track, if you take it, if you had a track like 10,000 or 5,000 with these guys in it, I'm assuming the odds makers would still have Fisher ahead, but I would be tempted to take Young because I think he's better. And even if Grant is ahead, he's like slightly ahead. But the question I have, is he on the downswing? Was his peak basically Paris 2024, Milrose 2025, and it would look like this, those of you on the live show. Grant Fisher maybe is like, well, we have a parabola up here, and he's just passed. He's on his way down. He's like the tiniest bit ahead of Nico, but Nico's on his way up. And you're looking ahead to 2027. You're looking ahead to 2028. And Nico Young is our best medal hope. And that's why I said, like a couple years ago, it was a similar argument with.
But wait, what event?
What?
He's not a better medal hope than Cole Hocker.
Not Cole Hocker, than Grant Fisher.
Oh, okay. All right, of the two, yeah.
And similar. Oh no, not Cole Hocker. We're talking.
I'm just saying he's our best medal hope. By the
10
way,
versus 2. I mean, so a couple. Well, anyways, it was kind of a similar argument that I had about the Hobbs Kessler. Everyone was like, "Oh, he's 5th at the Olympics. We assume the next Olympics are better." I'm like, no, this might have been. The younger guys are coming up. They're behind him. Nico's also, I think, 23. Grant's like 28. Maybe I'm off on the age there a little bit.
No, that's absolutely correct. I just looked it up. Yeah.
So, anyways.
Well, yeah, I mean,
look, in the chat, I meant to bring a Shock the World T-shirt to give away to someone listening live, Supporters Club member. Any Supporters Club members listening live? First person to put your Supporters Club username into the live chat right now, I will send you a Shock the World T-shirt free if you pay for shipping. Shock the World T-shirt free. You have to put your username in, prove that you're a Supporters Club member. The U.S. did not shock the world. But folks, this proves Nico Young didn't do well at Eurocross, but it certainly didn't ruin his season. That's what I wanted to see Grant Fisher do. Use World Cross, I know he's hurt, as a springboard to the outdoor season. When is Fisher last raced, John? People want to know.
The New Balance Indoor Grand Prix, January 24th.
Oh, there was one race we forgot to mention, and I got school pickup. But it was Jessica Hull going for the women's 2,000 meter world record attempt. Remember, she ran 5:19.70 outdoors last year. How crazy is that? 5:23.75 is the indoor record. She gave it a good shot. Tied up a little bit late. 5:26.68. And what's crazy is, I mean, you're like, well, she ran, 7 seconds faster last year. What happened? I asked John Kellogg to convert that time. He's like, that's equivalent to a 3:56. So she's in good shape. And she's another woman that can be a factor at World Indoors. So it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful World Indoors. NCAAs are going to be great. I can't believe my son's private school put the spring break on the weekends, back ending the NCAA Indoors and Worlds, John. My wife likes to get me out of town. She can bond with my son, but I really like going to spring break with him. I was going to bond with John. Hopefully Chris Capo is going to be there. We're going to be in another country. What happens in Europe stays in Europe, John. And now I'm not even going.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Robert. I enjoyed our overseas forays, and you didn't get to go to Winston-Salem either. So I guess I'm the one who gets to have all the fun this winter. But yeah, his message. Justin Rinaldi said he's going to be there. He's got like 4 or 5 guys in the 800, so he's getting ready for that one. He said his Aussies are planning on running. So that'd be Peter Ball, who just ran 1:43 outdoors. He's in pretty good shape. He's going to be another guy. He doesn't race a lot indoors, but it'll be kind of fun to see him in the mix as well.
Now, John, have Rinaldi and Coach Capo, that's Galkinhouse's coach, have they met in person? That's your goal. My goal for you is if they're both there to get them together. Although they might be, how friendly would they be? Would they be trying to steal each other's ideas?
No, I feel like they would have a lot of harmony because 1, they're both really nice guys, and 2, they're both bold. So there's just a little natural bonding there. World great, coaching great 800-meter talents. And, I feel like they'd get along very well.
Because they're bald? Is that what you said, John?
Well, I know that's when I see another bald person who's not like, 70 years old, I'm sort of like, all right, yeah, hey,
I didn't know that, folks. If you're a supporters club member and you're listening to the audio version of the show, if you didn't know, Jonathan Galt literally has 0 hair. John, do you shave that, or do you literally have 0? Do you have
Apparently, no hair. I never noticed. I don't notice people's hair.
Yeah, we don't look at
I'm
you.
supposed to notice that.
Yeah, you guys never base any of your theories on physical characteristics on this podcast. I do shave it, Robert, because the problem is it will grow in on the sides, but on the top, there's basically nothing. So I'd look dumb if I didn't tend to it. On
that note, John, I got to go pick up my son, then we're going to go get haircuts because our flowy long locks have.
Must be nice.
John, we love you. By the way, Glory Days fans, that's all I'm going to say. Glory Days fans, they know who I'm talking about. Jonathan Galt's working on the story, folks. We've got a few weeks to get this out. It's coming out. It's coming out. That's all I'm going to say. Inside baseball, though, for those of you that are fans of the lower levels, the baby nationals levels of the NCAA, baby nats. Goodbye, guys.
You want this as a podcast. John, we're done, right?
Yeah, unless you want to go over Crystal Palace almost losing to Zarina Star, Mo Star, or whatever the team is you guys play today.
I can't really talk about it, John. I think the optimism, I'm pure optimist, and it's almost out of me completely. But guys, with running, our slogan is where your dreams become reality. Come back to letsrun.com every day. If you enjoyed this show, you're watching on YouTube, you want it as a podcast, join our supporters club. You get savings on running shoes, super soft shirt. We get a bonus podcast every week, you'll get daily podcasts from World Indoors, I assume, stuff like that. Best club in running, letsrun.com/subscribe. See you guys on Monday, probably.
Thanks for listening, everyone.